My name is Michael Carter, and I've spent most of my life serving as a pastor in San Diego, California. Every morning, as the sun stretched its gentle light over the city, I awoke to a familiar routine: leading a thriving congregation, delivering heartfelt sermons, and praying fervently for those in need. Despite the praise, the smiles of congregants, and the comfort of community, I couldn't shake an inner hunger, a subtle yet persistent yearning for a connection deeper than any I had known. In the midst of bustling days filled with Bible studies, heartfelt worship, and the ceaseless demands of ministry, a whisper of discontent stirred my soul. I realized that while I taught about the transformative power of prayer and fasting, I had never truly embraced these disciplines as essential paths to the divine. In the quiet moments before dawn, when the city was hushed and my heart was most receptive, I sensed that something was missing. I had always practiced fasting on occasion, believing it to be a means to receive guidance or answers for pressing issues. I fasted for results, for breakthroughs that would ease worldly burdens. But deep down, I began to understand that my approach was merely superficial, a ritual devoid of the passionate intimacy that fasting was meant to unlock. The scriptures spoke of ancient figures and miraculous encounters, of prophets who fasted until the very air shimmered with divine presence. Yet, in my own life, fasting had become a convenience rather than a sacred invitation to encounter God. I started to wonder if this daily routine, though comforting, was keeping me tethered to a life of predictable rhythms rather than lifting me into the realms of divine mystery. The sense of routine grew heavier with each passing day, as if I were sleepwalking through a life meant for something far greater. I began to question, was I truly ready to break free from the mundane and step into a dimension where every moment throbbed with supernatural possibility? In the gentle solitude of early morning prayer, a spark was lit within me, a call to transcend the ordinary. I recognized that the hunger inside was not for food or earthly approval, but for the profound presence of God. In that quiet hour, the realization dawned upon me that fasting was not simply a physical denial. It was a spiritual surrender, an intimate journey into the heart of divine mystery. My life, once defined by routine and familiar comforts, was on the brink of transformation. Before I continue on this extraordinary journey, I want to extend a heartfelt invitation to you, dear friend. In this video, we are sending a very special message to those who share their name and city in the comments. If you wish to be a part of our next video and receive a personalized message that could give you that 1-minute moment of fame among thousands, please leave your name, your city, and a like. And if you haven't already, join our community by subscribing and liking the channel. Together, we can explore these divine mysteries and grow in faith. Life's rhythm was abruptly interrupted one fateful day, a day that would forever alter the contours of my spirit. It began as any other morning in San Diego, with the crisp air and the soft hum of the city awakening around me. I was preparing for a day filled with responsibilities when an inexplicable stirring in my soul made me pause. That stirring, at first a mere whisper, soon grew into an undeniable call, a summons that I could no longer ignore. In the midst of a busy afternoon, while I was deeply immersed in my pastoral duties, I received an urgent call. A devoted member of our congregation was in desperate need, a close friend whose wife had fallen gravely ill. Torn between the pressing demands of my ministry and the urgent need for compassion, I felt an overwhelming inner force urging me to act. Without hesitation, I gathered my Bible and stepped into my car, determined to bring solace to those in crisis. The roads, usually familiar and welcoming, seemed to pulse with a strange energy that morning. As I drove, the golden hues of autumn danced over the city's skyline, yet there was an undercurrent of tension that I couldn't place. It was as if the very atmosphere was charged with the promise of something momentous, something that transcended our earthly struggles. My heart pounded in rhythm with the silent drumbeat of destiny, and in that charged moment, every sense was heightened. The faces of strangers blurred into a single vision, a tapestry of lives, each carrying its own story of hope and despair. At an intersection, time seemed to slow down. In an instant, an unexpected collision shattered the illusion of control. A large truck, defying the red light, barreled towards me. The sound of metal colliding with metal, the sudden impact, and the rush of wind created a moment of chaotic beauty. In that breathless second, as the world exploded into shards of light and shadow, I felt my body release its hold on life. Instead of pain, an overwhelming calm washed over me. I sensed, with startling clarity, that I was no longer confined to the physical realm. In that suspended moment, between life and death, chaos and calm, my soul soared beyond the confines of the car. I witnessed the unfolding scene from above, as if my spirit had been granted the power of flight. I saw the shattered remnants of what had been my vehicle, the frantic actions of bystanders, and a series of fragmented images that painted a surreal, almost divine panorama. Every sound, every touch, and every sensation was imbued with an intensity that defied the ordinary. It was in that near-fatal encounter that I began to realize that life was far more fragile, and its mysteries far deeper than I had ever imagined. The experience was both terrifying and beautiful, a raw encounter with the unknown that forced me to question everything I once held certain. In the midst of the wreckage and the blurred boundaries between life and death, I sensed that this was not a random accident. Rather, it was a pivotal moment, a divine intervention designed to shake me from complacency and awaken a dormant part of my spirit. I felt an urgent pull towards a destiny that beckoned beyond the familiar confines of my everyday existence, a call to step into the fullness of the spiritual realm. As I drifted away from the chaos of the accident, I found myself in a realm that defied all earthly understanding. In that suspended state between life and death, my body lay motionless, but my soul soared into a radiant dimension where time and space dissolved into a breathtaking tapestry of light. The transition was both overwhelming and serene, as I moved through a corridor of brilliant luminescence, a tunnel that seemed to stretch into infinity, with hues of gold, sapphire, and amethyst swirling around me. Every fiber of my being was bathed in a warmth that transcended the physical, a divine embrace that filled me with an indescribable peace. It was here, in this ethereal domain, that I first encountered the true essence of God's presence. Gone were the mundane worries of earthly life. In their place was an all-encompassing sense of love and serenity. The very air vibrated with a celestial music, a symphony of notes that resonated within my soul, each chord a testament to the glory of creation. Floating effortlessly, I observed the landscape of the divine. There were meadows that shimmered like fields of stardust, where every blade of grass and every petal of a flower glowed with a sacred light. I felt as though I was witnessing a secret, eternal garden, a place where beauty and divinity merged into a single, glorious vision. The experience was profound. I could sense the very heartbeat of the universe, each pulse echoing the eternal rhythm of life. In that moment of transcendent clarity, I understood that the act of fasting, the discipline I had long neglected, was not merely a ritual of abstinence. It was a portal, a sacred key that unlocked access to realms beyond the physical. The hunger I had once felt for earthly sustenance had been replaced by a deeper yearning, a spiritual appetite for divine intimacy. Fasting, I now realized, was not about denying the body but about nourishing the soul with the pure, unfiltered presence of God. As I drifted through that celestial landscape, I encountered visions that defied description. I saw ethereal figures, radiant and gentle, moving with a grace that hinted at ancient wisdom and timeless truths. Their expressions were filled with a serene knowing, as though they had borne witness to the very secrets of creation. In the silence of that divine space, I felt a profound connection to all that is sacred, a realization that every prayer, every moment of fasting, was a thread woven into the fabric of a cosmic tapestry. That night, as I floated between realms, my soul was gently stirred by the promise of revelation. The experience was not an escape from reality, but a reawakening, a call to return to the earthly plane forever changed, carrying within me the light of 1,000 suns. And even as the brilliance of that realm began to fade, the echoes of its divine message resonated within me, urging me to step forward with renewed purpose and unwavering faith. I awoke one morning with a fire in my soul that I had never before experienced. As I sat in the stillness of my study, the weight of a divine secret pressed upon my heart. A secret that revealed the true power hidden within the discipline of fasting. It was no longer a mere ritual of self-denial or a quick fix for earthly troubles. It had transformed into a sacred portal connecting me to the very heart of the divine. In that moment, as my eyes closed in fervent prayer, I felt the air shimmer with an otherworldly energy, and before me materialized visions of golden threads of light. These weren't just luminous strands. They were living conduits, each one pulsing with the heartbeat of heaven and intricately weaving a bridge between our mortal realm and the eternal presence of God. I found myself immersed in a vision that stretched back through the annals of sacred history. I saw, with perfect clarity, the solitary figure of an ancient prophet on a rugged mountaintop, his face aglow with determination as he fasted for days, preparing to receive celestial commandments. His eyes, filled with unwavering conviction, told me that his hunger was not for physical sustenance but for divine revelation, a hunger that broke the confines of tradition and propelled him into an intimate encounter with the Almighty. The vision expanded, and I witnessed another scene. A community of believers gathered in a humble chapel, their collective prayers interlaced with a powerful fast that sent ripples of light soaring skyward. I could almost hear the whispered prayers merging into a resounding anthem of faith, each note a testament to the power of unity and surrender. As these images cascaded through my mind, the truth crystallized. Fasting was the divine currency that purchased spiritual breakthroughs. It was as if every day that I resisted the lure of earthly nourishment, I was receiving nourishment for my soul, a nourishment that refined my spirit and sharpened my inner vision. I saw how the golden threads, fragile yet unyielding, symbolized the prayers of the faithful. Some threads flickered faintly, nearly disappearing into the abyss of doubt and despair, while others burned bright with an intensity that defied the darkness surrounding them. In this sacred tapestry, I recognized that every act of sincere fasting was a declaration of war against the forces that sought to enslave our spirits. It was a spiritual revolution, a call to reclaim the hidden authority granted to us by the Creator. My heart trembled with the realization that this vision was not meant to be kept hidden, but to be shared with every soul longing for a deeper connection with the divine. The mysteries of fasting, once relegated to dusty pages and forgotten traditions, now shone like beacons of hope. I understood that each moment of abstinence, when performed with a pure heart, was not a sacrifice but a gift, a divine invitation to step into realms of power and revelation far beyond human comprehension. The spiritual warfare unfolding in the unseen world was real, and fasting was its mightiest weapon, a bridge that carried us from the mundane to the miraculous. Before we move further along this sacred journey, I have a special invitation for you, dear friend. If you are watching this video, please leave a like and comment with your name and the city from which you are joining us. In our next video, we will share a personalized greeting that celebrates your presence and gives you that 1-minute moment of recognition among thousands. Join us in building a community of light and faith, united in our quest to unlock the divine mysteries that reside within every act of true fasting. Returning to life after that transcendental encounter was not simply a miraculous escape. It was a profound rebirth into a mission that now burned with celestial urgency within me. In the aftermath of that revelatory vision, every fiber of my being vibrated with a purpose that far exceeded the everyday demands of pastoral life. I could feel the divine calling me to share a message that transcended human understanding, one that would awaken hearts to the untapped power of fasting. With each breath, I embraced the realization that my experience was not for my personal edification alone, but a sacred commission to guide others toward a deeper communion with the Almighty. Stepping back into the familiar yet forever changed streets of San Diego, I noticed how every ordinary moment glowed with hidden significance. The bustling sidewalks, the gentle murmur of traffic, and even the distant call of seagulls. All of it now spoke of a divine orchestration at work. I began to see miracles unfold in the everyday. A neighbor's persistent illness easing under the power of collective prayer, an estranged family reunited through unexpected kindness, and even the soft murmur of wind that carried whispers of hope on the warm coastal air. Every instance was a reminder that our world, though fraught with challenges, was also a canvas for divine artistry. In the quiet aftermath of my vision, I dedicated myself to a renewed ministry, a ministry that was no longer confined to the walls of the church, but one that reached into the very hearts of those seeking truth. I began to write fervently, pouring out every ounce of insight and revelation that had been bestowed upon me. My sermons took on a new cadence, a rhythm that resonated with both the pain and the beauty of our human journey. I spoke not of fasting as a burdensome obligation, but as a divine practice, a pathway to healing, restoration, and the unlocking of heavenly power. I challenged my congregation to abandon their half-hearted attempts and embrace fasting as a transformative act of worship, one that defied the ordinary and touched the eternal. The journey was not without its obstacles. Skepticism arose among those who clung to the familiar ways, hesitant to accept a truth that seemed so radical, so profound. Some whispered that my experiences were mere flights of fancy, that my visions were the result of overzealous longing rather than divine intervention. Yet, as I recounted the vivid details of that luminous encounter, the shimmering threads of light, the collective power of prayer, the undeniable surge of divine energy, I saw hearts begin to stir with hope. Even in the face of doubt, there were those whose eyes shone with an unmistakable yearning for something more, a hunger that could only be satisfied by the profound intimacy of a direct encounter with God. My mission had become clear: to lead a spiritual awakening, to help every believer understand that fasting was not a relic of the past, but a vibrant, living force capable of transforming lives. I was determined to guide others to experience the freedom and power that comes from surrendering fully to the divine will. Every step I took, every word I spoke, was imbued with the urgency of someone who had seen beyond the veil of mortal existence, a messenger carrying a sacred truth that could ignite a spiritual revolution. In the weeks and months that followed my awakening, a palpable shift began to sweep through our community, a movement powered by the transformative force of authentic fasting and prayer. I witnessed miracles that defied earthly explanation. A chronic illness miraculously abated after a community fast, estranged families reunited through unexpected acts of compassion, and hardened hearts softened by the gentle insistence of divine love. Each testimony was a vibrant thread in the tapestry of a new spiritual era, a testament to the truth that when we align ourselves with God's will, the impossible becomes not only possible but inevitable. Every day, as I led our congregation in moments of unified fasting, I felt an undeniable presence, a warm, radiant energy that enveloped us and elevated our prayers to the heavens. It was as if the very air we breathed shimmered with hope and promise, and each whispered prayer ignited sparks of divine light that spread like wildfire. I watched in awe as individuals, once weighed down by the burdens of their earthly struggles, were lifted by a power that transcended the mundane. The transformation was both subtle and profound. From tearful eyes emerged smiles of wonder, and from hearts filled with despair arose an unshakable conviction that the divine was at work among us. Yet the path was not always smooth. In the midst of our collective ascent, spiritual battles raged in the unseen realms. I witnessed moments when the forces of darkness tried to infiltrate our fasts, subtle whispers of doubt, distractions that threatened to derail our focus, and a persistent murmur of fear that sought to dim the light of our faith. In those critical moments, I recalled the brilliant vision of golden threads linking our souls to heaven. I understood that every act of sincere surrender was a victory, a stand against the darkness that would not allow our light to shine. Our fasting became an act of spiritual warfare, a bold declaration that we would not be silenced by fear or complacency, but would march forward with divine authority and unwavering resolve. The impact of our renewed commitment rippled far beyond the walls of our church. I began receiving letters and messages from believers in distant towns, each sharing stories of miraculous healings, breakthroughs in personal battles, and an overall resurgence of hope that could only be attributed to the power of fasting and prayer. These messages affirmed what I had long suspected, that the discipline of fasting, when embraced wholeheartedly, becomes a beacon of transformation that touches every corner of our lives. It was a movement that transcended individual faith. It was a collective awakening, a revival of the spirit that reminded us all of our true potential as children of the Most High. At this juncture, I invite you once again, dear friend, to join this extraordinary journey. If you have felt even a spark of inspiration from these words, please consider subscribing and liking the channel. Our community is built on love, mutual support, and the shared desire to spread God's light, not for any gain, but purely out of passion and commitment. Your support means the world to us, and together, we can continue to unlock the mysteries of divine authority and walk boldly in the light of His eternal power. Standing at the crossroads of my spiritual odyssey, I now realize that my journey is far from complete. The divine revelations I have experienced, the luminous threads of fasting, the resounding power of collective prayer, and the miracles unfolding around us, are but the opening verses of a much grander symphony. Each day brings new challenges and fresh opportunities to deepen our connection with the divine, to explore the mysteries of spiritual warfare, and to embrace a destiny that transcends our earthly limitations. I move forward with a heart that beats in harmony with the pulse of the heavens. Every step I take is guided by the memory of that sacred vision, where the golden threads of light wove together the tapestry of our shared destiny. The world around me continues to transform in miraculous ways. Strangers extend helping hands, communities unite in unexpected acts of kindness, and even the natural elements seem to celebrate the resurgence of divine grace. In every whispered prayer, I hear the echo of ancient promises, a call to rise above the mundane and claim the extraordinary inheritance that awaits those who dare to believe. This ongoing journey is both intensely personal and universally resonant. I have come to understand that the discipline of fasting is not a destination, but a perpetual pilgrimage, a continuous journey of self-renewal, spiritual warfare, and divine empowerment. With every moment of fasting, we peel back the layers of worldly distractions and reveal the radiant core of our true selves. We reclaim our birthright as children of the Most High, armed with the knowledge that our faith can move mountains, break chains, and light up the darkest corners of our world. The battles ahead are inevitable. We live in times of unprecedented challenges, of economic instability, social division, and spiritual complacency. Yet, it is precisely in these moments of crisis that our inner light must shine the brightest. I have witnessed firsthand how a humble act of fasting can awaken dormant powers within us, transforming our struggles into stepping stones towards an elevated existence. The call to fast is not just a commandment. It is an invitation to join a global movement of believers who are reclaiming their spiritual authority and rewriting the narrative of our time. Now, I leave you with one final invitation, one that carries the promise of continued discovery and transformation. If this message has stirred your heart and ignited a desire to delve deeper into the mysteries of divine power, do not let this moment pass. Click on the video appearing on your screen to continue exploring these life-changing revelations. Your journey does not end here. It is only the beginning of an extraordinary adventure into realms of light, love, and eternal possibility.